At 12:30 in the afternoon, it's Fitz and Spinell. I'm Sean Fitzgerald alongside Mitch Spinell. And right now we have a special guest with us from Brandon's World, Saturdays, 10 a.m. to noon. Brandon Lewis. How we doing, my friend?
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Hold on. Do we have the mic on? Hey, there we go.
Should be on.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
You're mic 5, right? Is he mic 5?
Yeah, he is mic 5.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Do we have it? I didn't
Yeah.
hear it, actually.
Yeah, just tap the mic.
If you can hear it, then it's okay. So we're here right now to talk more about the sports outside of Ohio, and we're in segment 3. We're going to talk more about Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, hockey, college if we can, some golf here. Let's start with the Seattle Mariners right now, Sean, because the Seattle Mariners right now are 13-2 in first place in the American League West.
What? Yeah.
How is this possible? What is going on in Seattle right now that's making
They
them so
have
good?
Marco Gonzalez, Edwin Encarnacion, Mitch Haniger. They have a catcher who can actually do something right now compared to their previous catchers. By the way, Seattle has a poor history with catchers. That's the only reason I say that. And D. Gordon actually doing some good. And just what the heck is going on over in Seattle?
I mean, look, I'm
not hating on them. I'm just saying this just from they should be sucking. Instead, they are winning.
Well, I don't know if you're supposed to be sucking. Like, you're not expected to be a terrible team unless you're Baltimore. But if you're the Seattle, I mean, there's a whole thing about them every year. It's like they get some of these core players, and you think to themselves, "Oh, this could be the year they finally get a wild card spot. This could be the year they finally do something." And at the end, it's like, and at the end of the season, it's sort of like, like their best season since 2001 has been like second place and not missing the playoffs.
And if you guys want some more reference for everything that we've been mentioning so far with the Mariners and just a little bit of the past references, go to Urinating Tree on YouTube. That would be a good video to watch. The Legacy of Failure for the Seattle Mariners.
I haven't seen yet, but I have to make sure I see it because you've been talking about it, and it seems like it's really good. It's another Urinating Tree video. Brandon, what are your thoughts so far? What have you liked in baseball so far this season? What have you not liked?
The way I see it, I don't even look at the standings really until the middle of May. You just have so much stuff going on in April and May, and you have injuries here and there, and like I said, so much stuff is going to change that like the standings don't even matter.
Yeah, I don't know. At the same time, I'm wondering that with Seattle, I don't know if they're going to last throughout the entire season or if there's going to be a 1 month thing and they're going to completely fall off the map compared to teams like Houston and like potentially the Angels, even though the Angels don't have as many tools as Houston. We'll see what happens throughout the rest of the year, and we want to move on really quickly. If there's another Major League Baseball thing, we will talk about that.
Yeah, we have some. I did not get the Jerry DePito interview, but basically the summarization of that is. He's very surprised with how it's ended up so far. If they want to add, they will, but they will not subtract from their long-term plan, which part of me slightly doubts that last part, but we'll see. He might have a little bit of less of a trigger finger on making deals. Also, the Mariners homered in a record 15th straight game to start a season.
That's not bad.
That is...
I'll give him that.
Yeah, that's incredible. And then still having a lot of extensions pouring in.
The extensions for baseball right now...
It's been
not
crazy.
Finished,
yeah,
and they're still shelling out tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah,
we got
Matt Carpenter, the St. Louis Cardinals. He's bounced around everywhere from first to second to third.
Wasn't he supposed to be an MVP candidate a few years ago, and he's fallen off the map?
Last year,
what's going on?
I mean, he's really good. Like he just had a down year, and then
4 years ago.
I mean, he's good again, and he got a 2-year, $39 million extension. Plus, there will be an option. I believe it's a vesting option.
Not bad for St.
Ozzie
Louis.
Albies. This one's a puzzler for me. 7 years, $35 million. This deal might actually be a bargain for his value, especially last year when he was finally able to break out. And I thought he was going to get a lot more on a long-term deal. This could be like the Jose Ramirez deal of that group.
Sure, I mean, it seems like at his age, it's a good place for them right now because they have him for a long term. You're not having to give him 9 figures, and if he wants that, he can get it near the end of that contract. Or is there an opt-out clause for this deal? Or
don't know. At least that's not been reported yet.
Right, we'll look it up later.
Yeah.
Brandon, what do you think of some of these extensions? Are these good investments for the teams?
No, I don't think any extension in the MLB past 5-6 years is good. I'm not in favor of these teams giving these guys 10 plus $300-400 million contracts. You may get 2 to 3 great years out of them, but
What if I told you Albies was going to be at least 30 or under 30 when he finishes?
He's gonna be like
his
29,
contract?
I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you just look at recent history, if you go all the way back to Albert Pujols in 2011, they've never made the playoffs with him. And then, you look at these contracts lately, Manny Machado, Bryce Harper, Mike Trout.
Well, those extensions, first of all, are for the 3 elite players in Major League Baseball in the primes of their careers right now, and those are investments that are just starting. We don't know if they're going to be successes or failures yet.
Also, Albies is 22 years old. He'll be under 30 when he finishes that 7-year deal, so he'll still be in his prime.
And a lot of prime players right now are starting out in their early 20s. It's not like it used to be in Major League Baseball. When you hit 30, you're automatically good for the next 5 years, and then you fall off the map completely. There are guys who are entering Major League Baseball that are becoming top 20 players almost immediately, and Alvarez has the potential for that.
With Lindor, Acuna, and several others doing that right now.
I mean, Atlanta's going full stock on the young guys, especially after that playoff appearance last year.
I get your point. I think that you do have to pay the young guys to some extent.
Because Albies, this is $35 million only. $35 million over a 7-year term. This is pennies on the dollar for what he's worth, and he's an all-star already.
Yeah, and for that market, I mean, baseball to me is just their home market is something that we can get into.
Oh, yeah, we can bring that up at some point.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just not a fan of giving anybody long-term past 5-year contracts because you just don't know with injury and history. I mean, now baseball is a different sport.
Atlanta's still a mid-market club to a higher mid-market club, so $35 million over 7 years, that's a $5 million AAV cap hit for them, or towards luxury tax purposes, that is. That's not bad for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad, but see, they got to get more pieces around them. They got to build. I just don't think they're there yet to contend.
They're close. They still have young pitching in the pipeline.
I think they're on the rise, but if they don't get some of those pieces to put them over the hump, I don't think the contract's worth it. I think you at least got to get to a World Series in at least 5 years.
Okay, I think
fair enough.
That's a good place to end that discussion because you guys have both made some very good points. We know that Brandon has more of a Paul Dolan state of mind when it comes to business. And that's not a bad thing to have, man. You want to be frugal with some of your business decisions because you don't want them to burn you. But let's move on to
the NBA.
The NBA, because speaking of losing,
we're losing a lot of our childhood here.
We have lost, ladies and gentlemen, 2 of the of this generation, the most iconic NBA players in Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki.
Round of applause for
I don't want to know if I mean we can give them an applause for all the success they had in their career. But at the same time, it's sad, man, because we're losing more and more people that we used to grow up worshiping that played professional basketball. I mean, we lost Kobe a few years ago. We ended up losing AI even before that. We lost
Tim Duncan.
A lot of the Spurs, to be honest. Garnett, After that whole thing with him and Wade, we're not going to give him a...
We lost Manu.
Yeah, Bosch. Bosch is another one. I mean, Kobe's the big one for sure, but then we're eventually going to lose guys like...
LeBron.
What's that going to be like, especially if...
He's going to be in Cleveland.
Depends on how he goes out. If he goes out like Jordan did the second time, it's like now you need to go. If he goes out like... He can either go out like Dr. J did in '87, where it's like everyone was so sad to see him go, or be like Kareem, where it was like everyone was just be like, "Thank Lord you're out of here," essentially. Even though we still love you. But going back to Dirk and Dwayne Wade, these are 2 guys who have been on the opposite side of the spectrum in their NBA careers. Dirk was a product of the '96 NBA draft class. He was not drafted by Dallas. Can anyone tell me who he was drafted by?
I know exactly what it was, and I just forgot.
Pretty good team this year. Anyone know? Brandon, you know?
I have no
Pretty
idea.
good team from this year?
It was from the Western Conference, right?
It was not from the Western Conference.
It was from the East?
Was it Milwaukee?
It was Milwaukee. That was the wrong one. There you go, Brandon. Round of applause.
Wasn't it a draft day trade, though?
It was a draft day trade. Could you tell me who they traded him for? This one gets a laugh.
No.
I was going to tell you. Robert Tractor Trailer. He was from Michigan. He was a good post player, but he just never got it done compared to what Dirk did in his career. Dirk was a multiple-time All-Star and All-NBA player, 2007 League MVP, won the championship over Miami in 2011 when he led a Dallas squad that played out of their minds for a month and a half, led him past Portland, swept the two-time defending champion Lakers with Kobe on their team, and that ended up retiring Phil Jackson from coaching. They took down a good Thunder team with KD, Westbrook, and James Harden before he peaked. And they took down the Heat in 6 games and came back in Game 2. It's one of the most memorable finals performances in history by a one-time champion. It's not like they went back to the finals in the other years. But remember the guys on the team. Nowitzki, Kidd, Terry, and all those guys. Just a very solid performance. And then, of course, Wade, All-Star, 3-time champion, played with Shaq, played with LeBron, played with Kobe. Was always one of the most respected names in the NBA. And he ended up having some weird years with Chicago and Cleveland, but then he came back to Miami, and that's like his true NBA home. And we saw what happened with the commercial with his mom a few days ago. That was a real tearjerker. Let's move on to the NFL, where there's some.
We still have one more story we have in the
NBA.
The What's big one, but before we go on that, before we go to that,
let's go to that though, because that's a bigger story. We should talk about.
Hold on, Brandon. What's your reaction with D Wade and Dirk?
Any thoughts on them?
I mean, obviously, like, I love Dirk Nowitzki. He's one of the best power forwards of all time. I think the one thing, though, about Dirk is if you actually look at his overall career, it's not as successful as, like, a lot of other stars. He had 1 championship in 21 seasons. And there have been
guys who have won no titles in how many seasons? What if you ask Steve Nash, his former teammate, do you think he'd won a championship?
Yeah, but I don't regard Steve Nash as one of the best players.
Oh, boy. Oh, no. You didn't. Oh, no.
This man came with some takes today, and I respect him. I can respect him. I'm going to boo him, but I'm going to respect him at the same time. Explain yourself.
If you're going to be a great player, in my mind, if you're going to be one of the best position-by-position players, you got to at least make finals and win at least 1 or 2. Look at the logo. You know, Jerry West, he had 8 finals appearances.
Yep.
He only won 1, but that 1 is more memorable than all of the 8 losses.
Yeah, exactly. The Cavaliers have 1 championship in the 4 finals appearances.
5.
But there's
5.
Well,
the Spurs won.
No, that doesn't. I'm not
that counts.
No, that's a different. No. I'm saying in the era of the 4 finals appearances.
Okay.
That's a different era.
Okay.
In the 4 finals appearances, there are people who who put more value into that 1 Cavs championship than the 3 Golden State titles.
By the way, just for folks who are wondering, I know that a couple people are saying you couldn't hear Brandon. We got that fixed, so you were able to hear him now.
We had an issue with the microphone. But let's get into the whole thing with Magic Johnson, because this is. If you had told me before this year that the Los Angeles Clippers would be the most functional team in LA, I would have been
flabbergasted.
What?
It's a mess. It's a mess.
Bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
And for the Lakers, it's a really weird situation they got in LA right now. It's like Rob Pelinka's and LeBron James are heading everything. We don't know if the players are going to be back next year, if they're going to be on the team.
We have no idea about Luke Walton yet.
What's going on there? And all of a sudden, one of the most charismatic and beloved Lakers of all time is now abruptly left without telling his boss. I mean, if you've been living under the rock for the past few days, Magic Johnson has officially retired as president of the Lakers, and he didn't even tell Jeannie Buss. He did not tell Jeannie Buss on his way out, and that felt like...
I believe the quote was he didn't want to have to tell her face-to-face because he considers her a sister.
Yep.
I mean, I guess, but at the same time, you got to go out on some dignity.
He said he was tired of the backstabbing. He was wanting to be himself.
Which only prompts more questions as to what the hell was going on in that Lakers organization for the past year and a half.
Yeah, part of me thinks that, like, with all the tampering stuff, the Ben Simmons thing that was brought up, not like as like charges against him, but as one of the examples as to what can go wrong. I think that's part of it.
What do you got, Brandon?
You know, from my distance. Do you guys remember a couple years ago when Magic said, if I don't get 2 stars here in 2 years, I'll resign?
Oh.
I think he realized.
We have to verify if that happened.
I
don't doubt that.
I thought he said 1 star, but...
No, he said 2.
2.
Oh.
He said, give me 2 summers. By 2020, I'm going to land two big free agents. He got the one in LeBron. I think he realized
that he's not going to get the second.
He wasn't going to get the second star. There was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with, I believe, just from my 2 cents, that him and Rob Pelinka did not get along. I think he wanted to fire Rob Pelinka, and Jeannie didn't want to do it because of Pelinka's relationship with Kobe, and this old thing just spiraled out of control. I mean, it's a complete mess right now, and if I'm a free agent, I don't care if LeBron's there or not. Until I know the structure there, I'm not going there.
If that's really the real reason why he actually resigned, then wow.
I mean, I'm sure it was a combination of that along with a bunch of other things. There is a doubt now that the Lakers can commit some big name free agents to get over to LA when you see some of the things that are happening at this point.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, what's that going to leave LeBron, who has 3 more seasons to commit to this team still.
He actually has an opt-out after year 3.
Well, even just 2 seasons left. And what else do you have over there besides making music and producing Space Jam 2? What do you have?
Not really much of anything. You might have Brandon Ingram, but I don't consider Lonzo Ball. I don't consider Lonzo Ball a building block.
I mean, it really depends. I think this is the thing for the Lakers. I think this summer, if they don't land a free agent, they have to decide: are we going forward with LeBron, or do we see what we can get for him?
Kobe Altman, please put together your best package, please, and thank you.
There is a take today that I'm putting a hotkey for, but it's not like the boo, it's not like the laugh. That is an actual legitimate take, because you wonder what the Lakers are going to be able to produce out of this team right now in the next 2 to 3 years.
If I'm the Cavs, I would start trading first-round picks for him.
I mean,
I wouldn't trade the 2022.
Depends on what we get now. Depends on what we have. If we got Zion,
yeah.
If we had Zion, if we had Colin Sexton, maybe we could trade Kevin Love's expiring contract.
He's not expiring. Remember, he got extended.
It will expire eventually in like the next 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
If we could trade him, convince the Lakers that he could be an asset, along with a first-round pick, maybe 2.
You just want to make sure that you don't do the 2022 first-round pick, because that's where they're trying to hope to get high school players.
You can get LeBron, Zion, Sexton.
LeBron.
Well, you probably have to trade Sexton though. Damn.
If you're able to get Zion, Love, and LeBron, and you can trade Sexton and the Zion Williamson pick and one other, that might work.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of
maybe Sexton, Love, and you keep Zion and LeBron. It's a big mixed mash, but
okay.
Speaking of LeBron and the Cavs and some other stuff,
sure.
We're going to do a real quick pop over into our poll of the day before we continue with the rest of our discussion.
Yeah, we still got yeah, we're good.
We want to know, will you be watching, and I know Brandon's answer already, will you be watching the NBA playoffs even without LeBron and the Lakers playing and the Cavs being out of the postseason for the first time in 4 years this year? And it's a simple yes or no. At Fitz and Spinell, that's where the poll's at. Go and vote right now. I know right now I've seen absolutely no being the answer, so go and check that out. Go and vote. Polls open until Monday at 1 p.m.
I want to quickly bring up the tweets that Adrian Wojnarowski had about Magic Johnson's resignation a few days ago. The first one was essentially about, it was just him saying, quote, "Since taking over as president of the Lakers, Magic Johnson never fully committed to the job. Often he was traveling and away from the team. His office hours were limited. He didn't do a lot of scouting. Running an NBA team takes a tremendous commitment, of time and energy," unquote. And he's not wrong. I mean, it has to take a lot out of these. A lot of players are getting into the front office jobs now, and it has to be a lot of commitment in order to make sure you're doing the job right. And this is the next one that has the most likes out of all of them at 90,000, and this is where a lot of people thought he hit the nail on the head. Lakers coaching staff fully expected to be fired in hours after the final game of the season. They had believed they were gone for months. Now, Magic quits in public, saying he's too scared to tell Jeannie Buss face-to-face. What an embarrassing episode for a historic franchise.
Yeah.
But they fired a athletic trainer, but Luke Walton is still, as of now, the head coach.
I wouldn't bet that he's going to be here for long. But who are they? Would they want to commit to him another year?
See, if I'm the Lakers, you try to rebuild Cleveland in LA. I mean, you maybe try to get David Griffin, maybe try to get Ty Lue.
Oh, David Griffin just needs an NBA job. At Field Yates on Twitter said, 10 years ago, I would have never believed I'd see the day where the Clippers were the best run NBA team in LA, and it wasn't even close, unquote. Let's move on to football. Let's move on to football, and I want to talk about the whole thing. I want to skip over the rest of the NFL stuff because this whole Juju Smith-Schuster and Antonio Brown nonsense. Let's just give it one of these because that's what it absolutely deserves. Antonio Brown put up the tweets a few days ago, kind of targeting Schuster. I think somebody responded to him about how Juju won the Pittsburgh Steelers' Most Valuable Player award last season, and then Antonio went out and was like kind of blaming him for that fumble he had late in the season against New Orleans that cost the Steelers a game and eventually the playoffs.
Can we just say this about AB?
Sure.
He is just a diva. He is not he's not a team player, I'd say, in any sense. Juju owns up to the mistake. He was apologetic. Antonio Brown worked his way out of Pittsburgh, burning every bridge he could, and I am disappointed in Brown, especially when he's just trying to post Juju, complimenting him when he was in college at USC and asking for advice.
That whole thing.
That just set me off. And I'm just trying not to curse on the air right now. Okay. And that was just, I'm just very, very upset with Antonio Brown. That is not professional.
I mean, that move made him look worse, if anything, because it showed that
I would love to know who his manager is for social media.
Oh, I'm sure he does it himself. I don't think he has a manager. If he does, he should get one.
He probably should.
Well, Juju has shown courtesy. He's talked about how he was happy for Antonio when he went to Oakland and got that huge extension, and now Juju's just looking at him like, "Oh, you're gonna stab me in the back like that." And then there was the whole thing with the Steelers, and like somebody said something. No, did you see what the Rashard Mendenhall thing? Did you guys see on Twitter the other day?
No, I did not.
Apparently, Rashard Mendenhall said that Ben Roethlisberger was, and I have to confirm this, something about being a racist. Because let me look up the thing here because I want to make sure that
while you're looking that up, though, what are you thinking so far?
Let Brandon speak a little bit. Yeah, sorry.
It's just all drama. I don't even read all the drama of it. Just let's see how these boys play on the field. AB, go prove yourself in Oakland. I mean, I don't follow. It's all nonsense. I mean, this is just, it's a story that we need to talk about, but, like, it's the story that, like, if something big in the NFL, like, if this was during the season, I don't think we would make that much of a big deal about it. This is what players do all the time when they leave. Their feelings get hurt.
But this is from an organization that prided itself on stability
not
and
anymore.
class.
Not over the last couple years.
Not over the last couple of years, but still, this is a surprising.
But even then, they like tried to show, this is the Steeler way, and they would have off the field issues, but they wouldn't pride themselves on. Like the Raiders the Raiders and Cowboys are sort of like known for that kind of nonsense, even though they try to prop themselves up. The Steelers do that tenfold. And here's the thing from the New York Post that I was talking about. The messy breakup of the Steelers somehow is getting worse. Former Pittsburgh running back Rashard Mendenhall defended traded wide receiver Antonio Brown in his ongoing feud with the franchise Thursday by calling Ben Roethlisberger, quote, a racist quarterback, unquote, on Twitter. Mendenhall was tweeting about something. He said, all right, I'll end the mystery. B's racist, and at AB84, Antonio Brown, is black. He had to catch balls from a racist quarterback. Every honest player knows it. It's not a big deal. He was just supposed to take his lickings and move on like a slave, for real, unquote. 3 hours later, Mendenhall attempted to backpedal from those charges, tweeting, quote, clearly it's no fun when everyone's the accused. Please allow the dialogue in sports to be equal. Why is it so easy to shoot at one player but not the other? B's not racist, just like AB's not a dirtbag. Hashtag let's be fair. Look, he went back on his statement, probably because he had to. But what does this make the entire organization of Pittsburgh look from the past decade, where it was this entire melting pot of nonsense between Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown and Mendenhall and Harrison and Schuster, and Schuster's not so much a part of it, and Tomlin's just mixing that whole thing with a giant spoon.
I actually like Schuster, even though he's a Steeler. I love Juju.
Juju's a fine player, and I'll give him a quick applause because he seems like a personable guy. I mean, he's not he's sort of like the piece of gold in a pile of concrete.
This is the mistake the Steelers have made for the last 10-plus years or whatever. We all know the Steeler history. They don't like to fire coaches. They like to just let them ride out. I think the real problem here, they need to set a new culture, and I think the way you do that, I think you can keep Ben, because I think Ben's still got a couple good years left.
Even with his age?
Yeah, I think he's still got a couple years left.
We've seen how quarterbacks have aged gracefully.
I think
know,
you need to
but
find his successor, but I think he has a couple years left. I think you need to get Mike Tomlin out. That's.
I would say
his
he's
contract expire then.
he would be. Well, he's on the hot seat this year for sure, unless they can really.
I
do
believe his
a
contract
huge
ends
turnaround.
at the end of this year. I believe.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a whole weird situation. You know the saying, "Winning cures everything." If the Seals win this year and get back to the divisional championship, and they get back to a deep playoff run, this is all going to melt away essentially.
Absolutely.
But with the look that the Browns have right now, and the potential you could have from somebody like even Baltimore, there's a potential for Pittsburgh to be in third place in the AFC North by the end of the 2019 NFL season. So we'll see what happens there. I want to skip over the hockey thing. Let's talk about the Masters. I wish we had the Masters CBS music on here, because that's one of the most elegant and regal sounds you'll ever hear on television. And we're actually watching the Masters tournament on ESPN's coverage right now. You can follow it in as it's live. And I'm looking at the leaderboard right now. It's Bryce DeChambeau.
Yeah.
Is 6 under. He is the leader right now after 7 holes. He's one of the earlier starters because he was not a high seed going into the tournament. And for the first 2 days, they go by seeding. But after the next 2 days, it'll go by where you are in the tournament. Mickelson is out on the course right now. He's at 5 under. Francisco Molinari is tied for second. He is at 5 under for the tournament. Ian Poulter right behind them at 4. Jason Day, Brooks Koepka. Tiger Woods has not teed off yet today. Yesterday he was 2 under 70. He is going to tee off at 150 this afternoon.
So the question is, who are y'all going to pick to win? Because I'm taking Tiger. I want him.
Let me ask you this:
major.
is your heart telling you to say Tiger, or is it your head telling you to say Tiger?
It's my heart.
Okay, what is your head saying?
My head is saying that it'll probably be Jason Day.
Okay, that's not a bad pick, Brandon.
I mean, guys, I don't follow golf at all. But
That's okay.
I don't either, but this is one of the few things that
I brought this one up.
I obviously know who Tiger Woods
Yeah.
is, and I'm rooting for him to succeed. So
Sure.
my heart will say
Yeah.
Tiger.
Yeah, everyone. I mean, people at this point, people want to see him win another major and to see that the glory days of his prime from '97 to '08 be resurrected. And it's just, and there was a guy that I think put out like a $60,000 bet on Tiger to win the Masters, and if he does, he'll get like over $1 million because of the odds. That'd be nice for him to get that payday.
For that guy, I hope it's not taxed.
Sure. I mean, you look at some of the other players right now.
Yeah,
there's some guys that are just struggling right now. You got I think Jordan Spieth is like a couple shots over right now, and he's just looking really rough out there. Vijay Singh is in dead last at 13 over. Charles Schwartzel, Fred Couples, a lot of the older guys.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Dustin Johnson can make a run here. He's at 3 under. Adam Scott will tee off soon. John Rahm had a solid day yesterday.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. And with 12:57 on the clock, we will take a quick break. When we come back, we will get into our story of the day. We'll talk about this week in yesteryear.
Recap. And also, Brandon, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for coming on to our show and being a guest. We welcome you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, this is Brandon Lewis from Brandon's World here. Make sure you leave a like and comment right down below. And make sure you check out the show every Saturday from 10 to noon on BuckStowRadio.com, the TuneIn app, or right here on the YouTube channel. Thanks, and you guys already know. See ya! It's out of here. It's Brandon's World.